my phone. Everything.
So you didn't even have like documents to get
I
back
couldn't
on the
even
plane.
get back home. So I'm like, oh fuck. So next morning we wake up, hungover, and we go to the U.S. Embassy. And that place makes the DMV look like Disneyland. Fuck that place. We go in there, and I go, hey, I got my passport stolen. I tell the guy. And I thought it was a pretty objective process. Like, okay, your passport's gone. We're going to replace it with an emergency. No. They looked at me like, you're probably some drunk frat guy that lost it at a bar. Fuck you. They give me. I'm like, oh no, they're not gonna. And he goes, sorry, sir. We just. And I realized he's starting to tell me no. And I'm like, what
do you
fuck?
mean no?
Yep,
What am I going to say you forever?
I know they can deny it, and I realized it's kind of like a girl getting pulled over. I realized like I'm gonna have to get on my cry pants, and I did. I had to get on some theatrics, and I was like, I have to leave Sunday. It's Friday. I can't stay here. My flight's on Sunday. I really need to get out of here. And he's like, okay, calm down. What your flight's okay? We need to get some information from your airline. I was like, it's Volaris. He's like, okay, call and get your flight number. I call from their number. I call this company, Volaris, and they go, hi, we need to get the credit card number for the flight. My friend bought it for me. Okay, well, we're going to need to get it from him. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, fuck, let me go to my email. They have a computer in their office. Let me get my email. And of course, the computer says, we don't recognize this computer, so we'll need to text you to verify. I'm like, I don't fucking have my phone. Are you kidding me? So I can't even get on their computer. Finally, I log into Facebook, and I'm like trying to get a hold of Dan. I can't get a hold of this Dan guy. So I'm like, fuck. I reached down to my buddy Pablo, who's down at the Starbucks waiting. I'm like, Pablo, I need you to call him immediately after like an hour of deliberating. We finally get a hold of Dan. He sends it to me. I get an emergency passport last minute. And I'm like, I'm emotionally almost can't handle today. This is too much for me. Anyway, my buddy Dan, the whole thing was we were supposed to go to this resort for his birthday. And he had already left with all his friends. And I was like, well, Dan, sorry I couldn't make it. He said, no, you're coming. Well, you guys already left. How am I going to get there? Don't worry. My buddy Juan will take you. He's leaving, getting ready to come up here. He's got all the food and everything. Okay. It's a 4-hour drive to get there. I get in with Juan. Hour in, we get a flat tire. I'm like, I think God hates me. Hour and a half later, second flat tire. I'm like, yeah, God hates me. I don't know what I did. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm drained, so we have to drive in a flat tire to get there on cobblestone roads. We get there to the resort. Oh, thank you. Finally, I can relax. And about, 15 minutes in, power goes out. I'm like, are you fucking... Can I just enjoy myself for 5 minutes? I'm drained. I need to nap. There's like 100 people at this party, at this house, at this resort. They've Airbnb. I just want to get some sleep. I'm exhausted. And nobody wants to go to bed, right? And there's only a couple beds, and there's 100. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I need to sleep. The only place I can sleep is the couch in the middle of the living room while everyone parties. Because Mexicans love to party. So I'm like, I'm trying to sleep. This is killing me. 6 in the morning rolls around. Finally, everyone goes to bed. Okay, I can sleep. I can sleep on this couch. We can go to bed. Okay, I can just, reset my brain. Of fucking course, there's a chicken farm next door. Of course there's a chicken farm next door. Why wouldn't there be a chicken farm? And why wouldn't there be roosters next door? So I don't sleep at all. I'm psychotically angry the entire next day. Finally, a bunch of people leave and go back to Mexico City. I'm like, I got my own bed. Oh my God. Okay, that's all I need. I just need a bed and some sleep. I'll be all right. So we eat dinner, a little barbecue. I go to bed. 30 minutes into sleeping, my stomach starts feeling a rumble, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like that feeling.
Not
I don't like that
with
feeling.
revenge.
Oh no, I didn't drink any of the water. I know better. But, I know, oh God. And this is going to get a little dirty, but it's necessary. I'm like, oh Jesus. I run to the bathroom, and I know that feeling, just everything had turned into liquid, fire. Just, oh my God, oh Jesus, right? And I'm like, fuck, this is terrible. I've got just food poisoning diarrhea, and I'm like, this is awful. Right? And it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to go clean myself up. I look around the bathroom for 10 minutes. Of course there's no toilet paper. This is awful. I have to shower to clean myself up. So I go back to bed. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. Nope. Every 30-minute intervals, my stomach says, fuck you, Griff. We're going to go to the bathroom, and we're going to have to go to the bathroom.
It's nature's diet.
We're going to go explode in the bathroom, and then shit. Every 30 minutes that whole night, I had to explode in the bathroom and shower every 30 minutes. So I didn't sleep again. I'm about to murder someone. Finally, I get a ride back to the airport, which is a hassle asking everybody. And I hit the airport, And I'm like checking in, and they're like, "We need your immigration form for when you came in." I was like, "Oh, we got robbed. I don't have anything." That's another thing I took. I don't have anything. They're like, "Well, you're gonna have to get a new one downstairs. They close in 5 minutes." I'm like, Jesus, I have to race down to this place where they have the immigration forms. It closes in 5 minutes. So I have to race there. However, I still got this kind of situation going on. So I start to sprint. I'm like, oh, I'm about to shit in my pants. So I have to walk, sprint. People in Mexico are walking. They're like, what is wrong with this guy? This guy has some kind of disease. I'm walking, and it's crazy. I get down there, and I go, oh, I need an immigration form. They go, it's going to be 50 pesos. Oh, I don't have money. I got robbed. I was like, I don't care. It's your problem. And I about started crying again. This sweet little Mexican grandma gave me the money. I go back to get in my on my flight, and they had changed the terminal, or they had changed the gate without telling me. Barely make the flight. Get on my flight. Get home. And then I'm like, oh, this is fun. How the fuck am I going to get home? I don't have cash for a cab. I don't have a phone to get an Uber. How the fuck am I going to get home? I had to beg some people and take a bus home. I took a bus home. I got home. I'm like, okay, I can sleep in my bed. I can enjoy myself. And there is a bill waiting on my bed from earlier in the month. I jokingly, and context here for anyone listening, this is before Trump was taken seriously. This was 2 years ago. I was wearing a Make America Great Again hat. It was funny. It was funny, and it was ironic. No one took him seriously. It was ironic. Of course, I'm in Silver Lake, where I was like, hipsters will get it. I'm in a bar on my birthday 2 years ago. And I'm wearing this hat. Guy comes out of nowhere. He assaults me and breaks my nose and goes to jail. Right? And I had to pay it I get home from Mexico. There's a bill waiting on my bed for $2,000. It's on me from going to the ER. I mean, just the cherry on the whipped cream. And I had a day Thursday that was worse than that.
All right, so we're going to hear about this day on Thursday on the podcast right now. So if you guys want to check out the episode, it's going to be available on Tuesday. And we're live streaming now.
We're live streaming on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Just search Dave Neal, Neal, and you'll find the live stream link. We have a couple of people listening.
Daveneal, Dave Neal.
Yeah, go there on YouTube. We're there right now. We're going to start our episode.
All right, so I'm getting off the Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh, hi, Doheny Photo. I miss you, and I want to see you soon. I keep, following all this stuff.
He does great work.
I know. He was like at the art walk last week, and he's doing interactive.
No one makes Tasha's butt look as good as Doheny Photo. You're no, is that? Do I have the wrong photographer? Maybe.
Have you ever taken a picture of my butt?
Either way, who hasn't at this point, right, Tasha?
All right, you want to hear meow? Well, go to YouTube and you can watch the episode on the stream right now, or you can listen on Tuesday. All right, guys.
Pre-show's over.
Bye. Hold on, let me end it. I don't know how to end it. End live video. Bye.
I can hear your Kentucky accent come out every now and then.
It's get your phone out of there.
Words find him.
Now that's done. Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the Sex Actually podcast. This is your boy Dave Neal with co-host Tasha Courtney.
Hello.
Returning guest Griff Pippin.
Hello.
We just did a little 15-minute warm-up here as I got the live stream running on Tasha's Instagram. And guess what? If you want to listen to that warm-up, I'll put it at the end of this episode. We basically recapped Griff's last episode where he talked about getting robbed at gunpoint in Mexico. And I'm not going to make you repeat the story again. But if you want to listen to it, you were on, we're on 6 months ago?
What episode, do we know the episode number? I guess we
It's been more than 6 months.
I'll put it in the
It's been a year.
So if you haven't heard...
because I use about 2 bars of soap a year, and you gave me 2, and I'm kidding.
Well, guess what? Here you go, my man.
Oh my God. Dude, this looks... If I were drunk enough, I swear to God...
It looks like a cake ball.
Because tonight I'm celebrating...
Or like a donut.
What people don't understand...
I'm celebrating my birthday tonight, and I'll be really drunk. And I know that I would probably...
Happy birthday.
It's Tuesday, but I'm celebrating it.
Is it a milestone birthday, or just a weird...
Well, I'm celebrating...
Are you LA where you don't say your age?
I don't care, 31.
Are you 31? Okay.
Yeah. No, but I am, I will have to tell you off the podcast about something. But I'll tell you why I'm celebrating this birthday and why it's special.
I'm going to guess it has to do with a lady. It always does. Last episode we had you on. You had just gotten out of a breakup, and you were in that beautiful stage of post-breakup where I'm not to project on you because maybe this is me, but that beautiful stage where I feel like you were you had sifted through the rubble and you had lost some weight and you were looking good, and you were ready to attack the world. Am I right? Is that where we left you?
It was the food poisoning in Mexico.
Yeah, I think you were probably right. That sounds about right.
And how's it been since then?
It's been good. I've dated here and there, but honestly, I joked about this on stage the other day where I was like, you know what? Once you hit this hump when you're single too long, you're just kind of like, uh-oh, this is dangerous because I can stay this way. You know, your freedoms, you're like, I'm just fine with going home to, I'm fine with just, if I just go home and watch Hulu and chill and have my freedoms, and I'm like, oh, this is why I don't have to report to anyone.
You can watch whatever you want to watch on your own device.
Yeah, I don't want to have to be like, so what do you want to watch? I'm like, no, I'm going to watch weird shit on Netflix tonight,
came home
and no one's going to judge me.
She came home early from work the other day, and I had just turned on this Patriots Tom Brady documentary, and she walks in the door, and I was, yes, I'm happy to see her, but I'm also like, fuck, could I buy an extra 30 minutes? Like, I just sat down, I turned it on, and then she's like a ball of energy, like, come on, help me unload the La Croix, whatever. But anyway, so you're feeling that Footloose independence. Did you not have that with the relationship?
How kind of un-PG can I go on this podcast?
As un-PG as you
Okay,
want.
I just want to make sure your listeners are prepared for this.
I would love if someone would blog about outrage. No one gets outraged.
This is kind of one thing when I tell people this is a thing I've done and probably will do in the future. They're like, oh, okay, didn't know that, Griff. So once again, you get single for a while. You're like, this is pretty great. I could get used. I don't know if I ever need to be with someone because. And then people are like, well, Griff, what about like sex and partnership? I was like, well, that's what prostitutes are for. And that's what people are like, wait, you do what? I'm like, yep. So in college with my economics tutor, we got hammered at a bar. We go back to this place, drinking. It's 4 a.m. He's like, hey, I got some girls coming over. What do you think? I was like, whatever, yeah. And these 2 very lovely, friendly, mid to late 40s, nice Native American woman come over, and he goes right off to his room with one of these girls. And the other one just starts flirting with me, hand on my leg. I haven't said anything. Starts flirting. Fast forward.
Did you not know that that's what he meant, or did you think
I was so drunk? I was so drunk that I was like, my brain's like, nah, we're gonna not try to think about what this is. And I'm getting a blowjob with a condom, and my brain said, you can't, you know what's going on. And 10 minutes later, I cried in the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror and said, yep, your innocence is gone.
Did she recommend the condom?
Huh?
Did she recommend the condom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
No, it's not a red flag. That's a good thing. It's called protecting yourself.
No one ever uses a condom with blowjobs.
So he and here's the thing, he got her and everything, and I would have never seeked out a prostitute. And that's just, it happened, and I was like, well, now that I've crossed that threshold, what's...
Griff, you're the victim of this story. You were put in a place that you didn't give consent to buy the prostitute.
Yeah, well, it happened.
What did it cost?
It happened. It cost... I don't...
He paid for it?
He paid for it, so I don't know. Anyway...
There's no such thing as a free lunch. That's what we learned in the econ class.
Not at all. So, anyway, I was just kind of like, well, once you've had one hooker, you're not afraid to get another one. I was touring Europe a few years ago, and at the very end of the tour, I was in Amsterdam. Hey, when in Rome, I was single. I had €50. This is a fun story. This is a fun story. I window shop, and I find her. That's the one. Brazilian-looking girl. Oh, that's the one. Yes, that's my girl right there. I go in there, not really any talking. €50. She just shakes her head. Okay. Take off my clothes. I'm like, oh, this is a rush. Oh my God. Okay. And I suit up, put my hat on, put it in, and a couple minutes go by, and I'm like, this is a little bit weird.
You fucked your way back to reality?
No. This is, sure, it's shallow.
Transsexual. Wow.
And it sure doesn't get lubricated at all. We had to keep getting lube, and then it dawns on me. And I had to clarify this story with audiences because a lot of people think, how'd you not know there was a dick there? This was not an asshole. This was post-op. It's kind of dark in there. There was no talking. I didn't know because surgery's incredible.
This show Nip Tuck. Nip Tuck, they teach you about that.
Surgery's incredible.
The guy could tell he was fucking a transsexual.
Gross post-op. I was banging a dude. That's somebody's son down in Brazil. They're looking for their son Paulo. Have you seen Paulo? Your son Paulo is having sex with a redheaded comedian in Amsterdam. And that was very traumatizing. I can laugh about it now.
Well, you grew up fast, huh?
And that's the thing. I've been single so long, I'm just kind of like, you know what? I could just go out there and do it. Since Amsterdam, I haven't done it. But I'm like, I am loving my freedom, and if I get lonely and need sex, you know, and you know, so.
That is some life experience.
The whole thing with legalizing prostitution is right now, just like the drug scene, because it's illegal, these people are getting away with sex trafficking. So when
it's much more dangerous.
In places where it's legal, the cops can come in, they can check it out. You know what I mean?
Regulate it.
And I feel like too, like it's the sex workers who are more likely to get like picked up in a raid and prosecuted. You know, they're the ones that end up in trouble. Whereas like the Johns don't get caught. You know, their pimps don't get caught. Like it's
And the pimps have all this extra money to get out of it in court too.
But it's just like, you know, let's talk about the safety of sex workers. We really need to, you know, it's a dangerous job. But if somebody wants to be in that business, they should be able to be in that business and be safe.
I'm surprised you took that side of the argument.
Why?
I don't know, just because I thought you'd be against it.
No, I think, you know, people want to do what they want to do. But it's being illegal makes it dangerous for sex workers. And
crime rates and sex trafficking are way higher, and they're way lower in Holland
you're
because
not punch the hooker in the face. I don't think it's hooker offense.
And human trafficking and sex trafficking is happening everywhere. It's happening in the States, so people aren't really talking about it. But it's like I wish I had the little postcard with all the stats on it. But there's this nail polish brand that I like. It's called Restore Blank. My friend just started it, and every month the polish is like supporting a cause. You know, they give proceeds from their sale of the box to a cause. And January was human trafficking, and the stats on it are outrageous.
Astonishing.
I mean, people get picked up. They think they're going to a job interview. You'll see like posted signs for like, you know, teen summer jobs or whatever with a phone number on it, and people call this number and they go to what they think is a job interview, and they get snatched.
That just happened to like
people
an Italian
get snatched at like grocery stores. It's insane, and 90% of these people are never rescued.
Yeah, you know, Backpages.com. Do you know about that?
That's where like most sex workers advertise, right?
Yeah, and they have a lot of child sex slaves on there too. Apparently, like that's a huge issue on Backpages. A lot of guys are getting popped, and I'm like, it's right here under our noses. It's happening everywhere all the time, and I'd like to know more signs of where there's weird things going on. Maybe we could stop it. I'd like to at least be more
along,
informed.
Like major interstates. There's a lot of, you'll see postings on Facebook sometimes, or at least I do, because I feel like a lot of women post that stuff. So like a woman will say, this shady thing happened to me at Target today. Someone was following me and being really creepy. Or they'll say, I don't know, whatever, but they post it, like, look out. Or like a lady posted, I was supposed to go to a job interview and the address was this apartment building. I didn't go in, but like, everybody watch out. And like, girls repost this stuff because we have to think about our safety all the time.
Here's what's crazy is that when you talk about sex, especially in our country, the Western world, where we're so repressed, we don't want to talk about it. You know, I can't monetize these podcast episodes because we talk about sex. I can't advertise. They literally pull out, pun intended, of the advertising, and it's just an algorithm. You type in sex in the tag words, it doesn't go through on YouTube. Yeah. But that's just insane that you can literally watch a teenager twerk on YouTube and be all creepy and shit like that. But God forbid we talk about...
Or, you know, our movies are filled with violence and heads chopping off and
parents, and my parents are so guilty of it too. My stepdad, he love him, but he's like just from that Catholic generation where like, you know, they'll let my 14-year-old brother watch any horror or adventure, whatever kind of movie with violence. But the second like there's a chick with some side boobies, like close your eyes, and it's like you can show tits in other parts of the world. It's you're making it weird when it doesn't have to be. Anyway, that's my whole thought on it. We're just trying we're trying to talk about things that it's not weird for us to talk about you having sex with a transsexual hooker in Amsterdam. It's not weird, but for some people listening, they go, I get comments.
Their buttholes are like.
Well, no. But they love it because where we are, we're in their ears. They're at their cubicle. They're laughing. They're going, "Oh my gosh, what are we talking about?" The second they take their microphone out of their iPhone and it starts playing loud, they go, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" And it's like, I get that. You don't want the subway to know you're listening to us talk about banging hookers.
I've got your attention.
But the thing is, it's like, why is it some dirty little secret that we have? It's like, it's just interesting that this is the last frontier of things you can talk about. And 267 episodes in, we're still finding new audience members that are like, oh my gosh. But I want to pivot from there. I wanted to talk about this real quick before we get into the rest of your dating life.
The main course.
Well, I wanted to talk about Date Like a Comic. I know this is going to come off sounding a little self-promotional, but I wanted to recap an article I wrote and get your kind of points of view on it. So basically, I wrote an article for The Social Man. I'm wearing their hat. And it's a men's dating company. It's an online company, membership community. And the article is just about like ways that comedians, like what we do on stage, what kind of muscles we build with our communication that could work with dudes trying to meet girls. Because the biggest problem I see with guys is, I always say this, if you got rejected from a girl, chances are she's rejecting your approach, not you as a person.
100%
Because they don't, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what we're projecting to them. You know, like I've gone on stage and tried to riff right away and I said the wrong thing. And next thing you know, like the other night I had a riff and I kind of related something that was happening to the AIDS epidemic. And like I hadn't established that I was on what side of the coin I was on as a comic, and the audience like shut down. And we were in a weed show where like everyone was smoking and free love, and I just said something and they didn't like it. And I was like, oh, you're not rejecting me as a talent. You're just rejecting the fact that maybe I shouldn't have opened with that. You know what I mean? Do you ever open with something and it's like, you gotta steer, you ever dig yourself in that hole initially?
I'm a huge believer. They say in comedy, you know, your first minute or blank amount of time, you've got to get them right. I'm even more extreme. I think your first 10 seconds.
I think that's what they say about like a job interview or just meeting strangers on the street. That like within just seconds, someone has made up their mind about you.
And I even say you can utilize before you walk on the stage, as you walk up.
Well, you see some comics, hey, coming to stage, Joe Blow, and they'll, woo! And they start clapping and they start doing some
crazy. It can be annoying. There's a way to do it. I might shake hands like a politician. Sometimes I have fun with it, but I'm not worried about that I'm an annoying, hacky comic. I say those first 10 seconds or so is crucial. And crowd work is a big part of my act. I go right in. I usually pick some out in the crowd, and I'm like, I'll just start going in. I'll just start popping off and really engaging them early on.
What's the audience digesting from you? Like, break it down. What are they? Does that translate if you were to say be in a bar where you would just go up to someone and be like, hey, what's going on with this striped shirt or whatever? Like, would you?
What we're doing is we're connecting in the moment. I'm engaging them. It's a real conversation. It's not, hey, I've rehearsed this. Sometimes comedians can be disconnected to their audience. I see it too many times. Rookie mistake. They just go right into material. What the fuck are you doing? If I had an HBO special, I would still do crowd work early on.
Oh yeah.
And Patrice O'Neal did it.
Oh, he's so good.
And it's probably similar to dating and talking to a girl. If a guy walked up to you at a bar and just kind of had this line rehearsed, you'd smell the bullshit from a mile away.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with the comedian. If he walked up there, if a guy looks at you across the bar, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to him like, hey, what are you drinking? You smell it. You'd be like, gross. If I walk up there, I'm like, so my dating life's fuck off with that shit. Engage yourself. Introduce yourself. At least say how
we don't want to feel like we're just like watching a show, like
right.
like where I don't want to hear like a rehearsed bit, a thing that you've done 1,000 times. It doesn't feel authentic, and the same way I don't want to line when somebody walks up to me. I don't want to be like, oh, has this worked before on you?
It's a line. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, this joke works in front of audiences
look
before?
at me and acknowledge me, and I think that's the sort of like the whole authenticity bit of is this real? Is this happening in the moment? Is this off the cuff? That's what I want.
Now, with an audience, do you kind of know who's an easy target to talk to versus someone who might look like they're kind of closed off?
Stuff that stands out, and usually I don't think too hard about it. I just start kind of playing around.
But that's important what you just said. You don't think too hard about it.
Because if
women
you do...
can sniff out when you're thinking too hard. Women's intuition is way different than men's.
Yeah, they can smell it.
They have to, for survival. They have to know to sniff out, like, did you think too hard about approaching me right now? Because it's always said to say the detachment of not giving a fuck is the most beautiful place to meet someone great. You know what I mean?
When you think too hard about it, when you go talk to a girl, they can tell, and then you're like, I fucked that up. They can tell. They can tell. They can tell I'm nervous. Goddamn. And same thing when you get on stage, you've rehearsed it. they're like, we're not buying this. You're not buying it. Same exact thing. There's so many parallels. But I think it goes back to why I do comedy. I don't know if I told you why South Africa. It's a long story, but I used to do comedy for me, for validation, for selfish reasons. Now I do comedy as a service. If I can make you forget about your breakup or being broke or your dad just died for 30 minutes, then that is why I wake up in the morning. If I can make you forget about your life and make you enjoy yourself and smile and genuinely have a good time, that's why I do it. And when I approach a girl, if it's about me and I want her to like me, or if I want her if I want her attention, it's the same thing. It's not going to work.
It's getting instead of giving. If
right.
From a place of like giving.
Where we do that shot clock. I have 24 seconds to tell you all about me. They're like,
yeah,
but in
gross.
reality, you have your whole life if they like you up front.
If I want to roll up to you and I genuinely want to make you laugh and just at least have a conversation that you enjoyed, it's not about me so much. Then we can have an engaging conversation. It can go somewhere. But it's all about your mindset of how you kind of, same for both, the way you approach it. I think if you kind of take yourself out of the equation a lot.
Because that's hard to do. Is not think you're the most important thing in the room. Like we have that kind of narrative in our head that says like there's so much pressure. Everybody's watching me right now, and in the end, it's like no, you just go up there, talk to someone, and getting rejected can still kind of burn. But it's like if you have a bad set, well, you do the next set. And if you had a bad set, the next good set washes out the bad set.
As long as you're learning, and that's the thing. I don't go up there thinking I'm better than anyone. I'm the best person in the room. I go up there with a shitload of confidence. I'm very confident in myself on stage.
You have a great time on stage, regardless of the audience. You really do. You're out of breath, sweating. You're physical.
I do my CrossFit bit is ridiculous. I
that's your workout every day.
I cracked a stage the other day in San Diego. I almost broke a stage. If I'd have finished the bit, I would have broken the stage. I had to get off.
I like your gay preacher.
Oh yeah, you haven't heard. I've got some new very pro. Once again, I don't give a shit about political correctness. I don't do it because it's what people are doing. I do it because it's just because being a decent human being. I don't go out of my way. I have a very feminist spin on stage. I don't go out of my way to pander or to be a feminist or get on a bandwagon. I go out of my way because it's the right thing to do to treat women right.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm feminist. It's the right thing to do and treat men right, to treat everyone right. And I have some new bits that when you hear them, you're like, fuck, man, this new bit about immigration, it's just
we got to do a show together then.
Fuck, I'm just you're fired up about some new bits.
Yeah. Well, I've been starting every set just telling the audience that I'm a feminist, and then, only because my girlfriend makes more money than I do. Like, that's it. That's the only reason. But it's just like, that makes me look like the loser in the story, so they go...
You're likable.
You know what I mean? They're like,
the
only thing that keeps me afloat is the wage gap. Like, that's the only reason that she's not running away from me. But it's like... Yeah, I don't know. It's about, there's a lot of perception you have to worry about on stage, but also not caring is a beautiful thing. But also, it's good to not care on stage, but you've probably mastered the art of not being like braggadocious or you know what I mean? So like,
comedy's not about winning. Comedy's about how shitty your day was and getting that out there.
Being relatable. It's like bringing people together under this cloak of laughter. And laughter is like a healing entity, just like love, bringing us all together. The power of our collective love and our collective happiness and our collective laughter could like move mountains.
You know what's funny is it's not...
It does.
You can, like, if I make fun of myself, it's not in a negative energy, so I can do a whole set where I just shit on myself, and no one, including me, feels bad about it, because it's not like...
They see themselves in that.
Yeah, there just isn't that negative vibe, and so I don't know how that would translate to, like, meeting someone at a bar, but, like, we, talk about weather as the first thing. You could... there's no canned thing to do when you... I always talk about meeting women at bars. That's like my common denominator, but it can be...
When she's out of town.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I'm at a place now where it's hilarious because I don't care. I don't give a fuck what I say because I'm not trying to score anything.
And you would do a lot better.
Oh yeah,
guaranteed.
But also in New York, like my single days, I didn't care then either because when you're with your buddies and people of like mind, you can laugh about things. It doesn't mean you're being a dick, but what it means is like you're just not seeking the validation from the girl, and it really makes it go a lot farther with like what you're just not. It doesn't. It's like having an unlimited amount of job interviews in the day, because if this one person doesn't like, it's like screen
it's
them
having
out.
options.
If they can't laugh with you, screen them out. You don't need that. Or if they're in a lot, like do you? How do you? I mean, don't get me wrong. When I talk about date like a comic, it's funny because a lot of comics are horrible at dating. But I think if they actually applied the tools that they had on stage, they would be better. So like for people that read the article, you don't have to be a comic to learn these muscles. You just have to learn the virtues, which are just don't give a fuck about the result, the authenticity. Because if you're not being yourself, sooner or later, like maybe like the whole seduction community, maybe you could strip it down and learn the equation to get someone to fuck you. But like but then what? You're not being you.
Yeah. No, you're doing everything for the wrong reasons too.
And that's the same thing as a hacky comedian. You're not being you. If you're like, what's your how do you go about meeting girls? Like, are you is there something you're just not worried about right now? Or you just let it naturally.
Once again, I'm to this point where I'm like, I don't care if I die single. I'm fine with that. Because I have so many great friends. So the idea of companionship or loneliness isn't something I'm concerned about.
You have your support system.
I have a support system, so I don't feel lonely at all. So I'm like, I'm fine. I don't need it. I'm fine without companionship.
You haven't put all of your marbles in that one here's the thing that unfortunately, I think women are more guilty. I think it has to do with the biological clock. You tell me, Tasha. Dog agrees. He's barking in the background. I think women are more guilty of... Boone, shut up! Sorry, they can't hear it, so it's just me. Women are more guilty of putting that pressure on finding... Moms do it to daughters. Find that one. You know what I mean? I was watching the movie Snatch, and she's like, Goldie Hawn to Amy Schumer, it's okay, honey, you have probably 2 years left.
I think that's sort of a generalization. Like, I think everybody at some point can start to feel a little bit insecure, like, oh my god, is this ever gonna happen for me? I need, like, the idea of, like, having a partner, someone that, like, you really depend on, who's, like, your number one, you've always got each other's backs, that's awesome. And maybe you have that in your best friend, but, like, it's sort of natural that people couple up. That's part of life. And so I think, I don't think it's just women that feel that way. Yes, we get a lot of pressure from society, but
don't you feel like some of your friends, and to no fault of anyone, now that they're on the kids stage, you're not going to see them as much. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're single, all your married friends, it's like, sorry, like I went skydiving with Jonathan and Marina and all them. There was 8 couples and me, right? So I was the 17th wheel. I was literally
17th wheel.
I'm strapped to like this South American burly man tandem. They're all down there making out in the meadow. I'm the last one, and I just land on top of the guy I'm strapped to. And again, I wasn't even upset about being the single one, but I could tell, like, they were like, oh yeah, and invite Dave. And I've had Patsy, all of them, when they were all married, one of the friends didn't want me to go to the thing, and Patsy's like, you're gonna invite Dave, right? They're like, well, it's a couples thing. Like, you're inviting Dave. He's one of our best friends. But like other people, they kind of like, yeah, once they batch up, they're in a different stage.
That's the natural progression of life. Things are gonna happen. That's how you grow out of friendships anyway. Distance separates friendships. Like, that's, you can't blame anybody for that. And it's just like you're in that place or you're not. Maybe that there's like some people have a fear of kind of being left behind. If all their friends are moving on or all of their friends are married and having babies and they're still single. Like, I can understand that pressure.
Well, you know what they're losing is their community, because every person that shacks up, they're in what Griff has, what I have, and unfortunately I don't think you have, is we have the stand-up community. Your modeling community, it's like you only see each other at jobs you guys get. I love it when Tasha has a job. Sometimes like, they'll hire all the people from the same agency, so she'll have a job. You talk about it with other girlfriends that you get to see.
People I already know, yeah.
And you come back
there was
so
like
happy.
A casting that I like almost went to yesterday for a job that was working this weekend, but I was like, oh, but none of my friends are going to be there. Like, I don't want to book a job that's going to be 2 days that I don't get to work with my friends.
We can go do a show out of town or even wherever in Ventura, and like I did a show Monday in Ventura, and I'm like, fucking bullshit. I get there, hey Quincy, hey, what's going on? Hey Terrence, hey, all these people I know, and I'm like, I'm seeing my buddies. And sometimes you see people you don't want to see, but it's like we have this built-in thing around our workplace that I don't think Tasha necessarily has. But you have shoots that
we do have, but that's just, it's like part of living in LA, people live far. Like, it's way easier to be friends with someone who, like, lives in your neighborhood because you can just be like, hey, what are you doing? You off today? You want to go get coffee? Instead of it being, like, a whole deal, like, oh, we have to schedule it. Let's go next Tuesday. Can't do that. What about Wednesday? It's an hour drive to go get coffee. Like, that's, you know, that makes it hard. But I think you when you started talking about, like, having a sense of community, you were touching on something that I think is really important, which is, like, and back to what you were talking about before, is, like, being your authentic self means knowing who you are, knowing what you enjoy, having your things that you do, maybe with your friends or maybe by yourself, the stuff that, like, makes you happy. And I think a lot of people sort of put that on the back burner in order to pursue a relationship, whereas a relationship works best when you know exactly who you are and you know exactly what you love.
It's the dessert, not the main course.
Yeah.
The main course is you, your friends. The best time of my life, other than now, a lot of you think about it now. The best time for those new people, Tasha and my girlfriend, we live together. We're you know, it's been a long time. We're good. But the best single time of my life was when I was in New York with Gooch, Andy, Joey. We all had each other. We had so much fun. What group of girls wouldn't want to talk to us? And if they didn't, fine. Then the next one. But we had our own little.
That's your community, but it's also part of your identity.
Yeah, and when one wasn't there, we had someone else. And sometimes, and you know, like, don't get me wrong, you can go to a bar by yourself and still make friends, but you have to kind of, like, rebuild that fire.
Not the same, yeah.
Yeah, which happens sometimes. I mean, I went to a bar when I was single, and the people that were supposed to meet me blew me off. They were like 2 hours late, so I just took up space at the bar. You know what I mean? I was like, I stood up because I was like, what I hate is when you just go to the back corner in a booth. You're never going to get the foot traffic there.
Nah.
You have to think of yourself as like a business. You
look like a pervert.
Air conditioning, yeah.
You look like you have sex dolls. You sit in the corner by yourself.
You're
alone in the corner.
You will after
Yeah, you're that guy who brings a laptop to a bar.
Yeah, but that's it. So what I did is, like, I, like, position, and now I'm going to sound like a psycho describing it, but, like, I positioned myself in a way that if a girl wanted to get up to the bar, she kind of had to run by me. I kind of, like, created a little canal of love.
You sound like a psycho.
And I
canal of love.
I ended up meeting.
Oh, that sounds so dirty.
I ended up meeting people that way. And
so dirty.
What it also does, it gives a chick a chance to bump elbows with me, because I think a lot of times, almost all the times, women make the first move, whether they know it or not. And I think a lot of times women will
really.
I've had girls spill drinks on, but hey, what? I've had and then, hey, what's going on? And then you have to be ready.
Well, I think maybe there is, like, a subconscious thing that happens there. I could sort of understand that. Where, like, if you're willing to get in a very close proximity with a strange man, you must be receiving some sort of, like, chemical signals or, like, cues that are making you think that this person is not dangerous.
I've done that.
Makes a lot of sense.
That when there's been celebrities near me, like when I were, like, in the same room. I've, like, just drifted.
We said it was an unconscious thing, not a psycho thing.
I'm like, I gotta smell Rob Lowe. I don't know what he smells like. What if I could only touch his hair right now?
You're so weird.
He was in my dream the other night. Strange. Anyway, I don't want to harp on it too long, but yeah. So I don't know. There's a million ways to skin a cat, or however that goes. But I think women are horrible at making the move, but I think they give men the chance.
No, we're giving you a signal.
No,
if someone's brushing up against your arm at a bar, like, that's maybe a signal that, like, maybe. I mean, that means maybe open a conversation and see how it goes from there, but, like,
you know what's funny is the UCLA shows that we do at the Improv Space. We talk to so many strangers.
Yeah.
Because basically there's this tiny little black box theater, and the way we test out material is we start a show, and then as students and whoever walk by, we just say, hey, comedy show, and we try to get them in. But it's incredible. I can't tell you how many people and it's hard to stop a moving object. I mean, it's literally the Newton's law of momentum, right? It's like, it's hard, if a girl's walking, it's like, good luck, like, the conversation is not going to work out. But what we're doing is that we're like, I don't want to say catcalling it, but, like, we're catcalling people to come see the stand-up show. So we're not objectifying them, but we're being like, hey, I want to make you laugh, we're just saying bullshit.
I think that's just shouting. Promoting.
Sure.
I don't think that's the same as catcalling. Catcalling means harassment.
Right, but the point is that you learn to just be bulletproof with what you say, and it still annoys me when I'm like, hey, come see the live stand-up show, blah blah blah, and it's for this example, she was Asian. She walked by and didn't have earphones in, and she didn't acknowledge me, and then I started yelling at her.
Well, rejection is never easy, but like, don't take it personal. She doesn't want to like get in a conversation with a stranger on the street at night.
How dare her? How dare her?
And we're worried about your feelings of rejection.
Well, my point is I'm still allowed. Like, it's okay to feel rejection. Just know that you're gonna get another at bat.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it sort of takes away the high stakes.
Griff, I want you to text me right after you use those peppermint soap balls on your balls. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, the tingling.
Who said I'm using them on my balls?
We're gonna have to go to.
Anyone that couldn't see that listening probably thought I was talking about my asshole, and I wasn't.
You have to go. This is one of our first episodes. We're live streaming on YouTube, so this will be back up on YouTube for all those that only are listening on audio in your little cubicles, getting all hot and bothered, hearing us talk about hookers in Amsterdam. You know what the sad part is of that is the only time I went to the red light district was with my sister.
Yeah, because it's like a tourist attraction. You can go there. That's not weird at all. To me, it was not.
But if you try to take a photo, they close the curtains. Did they?
No, there were 7,000 Asians taking pictures.
Really?
And of me, somewhere out there. There is a photo album that someone's going to show to their grandkids. And this is when we went to Europe. We were in Amsterdam, and this redheaded man, this guy right here, he went to have sex with a woman for money. Somewhere out there, some grandkids are going to see a picture of me. And
do you think they think you're famous? A lot of times when you travel abroad, like, for some reason, Asians always think you're like the famous white guy.
I'm sure that happens.
My buddy Darren lived in Japan, and he's literally was stopped on the street everywhere he went.
Oh, they love looking at white people, though, sometimes.
Weird.
Yeah, in certain countries, if you're white, like in India, I've heard it's the same thing. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah, and you're tall. You're like big. You're different. It's
usually you're exotic looking too. So
give me the State of the Union for you. Where are you at? Where are you at with like you know? So you're
dating.
Yeah, what we talked about last time. You were just like I said, sifting through the rubble.
Well, you know, and also like I said, I'm fine with being single. And also, if you know me and you know any of my friends will tell you that are close to me, I'm a romantic, hardcore. Since I was 4 years old, I've thought of what I want my proposal to be for when I get married.
Tell us.
I don't know, but I've gone. I don't know yet because I put so much. I've never put that much thought in anything. Like it's such a special moment for the girl. That is the performer in me too, but it's once again, it's like this is a girl cherishes that moment since she's a little girl. This has to be a special moment. I don't know, like air balloon over Paris. I don't know. I really don't know. Seal did it in an iceberg. To Heidi Klum. I'm always open to ideas.
Work out for
in Switzerland and the Matterhorn, I don't know. It's got to be like visually. I mean, I want to go somewhere where her breath is taken away visually by the beauty of the environment already. I want it to be.
So not her red light district.
Single ladies out there listening.
I want her breath to be taken away already, and then we just add that on there, and it's like, I want her to pass out. But here's the thing too. You were mentioning this too. Is and it's like, I don't think I'm going to be single the rest of my life because I'm romantic, and I do want that, but I'm also fine. You mentioned earlier you're always growing. I'm a different person every year. I'm a 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. Like the guy I was 5 years ago, and the girls I would have attracted are much different than the girls I am now. I'm much more mature, older, and more knowledgeable. And I just think that I would be able to attract a girl that fits me. A girl that I'm going to attract now, it's going to be different than a girl I'm going to attract in 2 years. So I'm always improving. You know, why cash in now?
Find someone
if I do,
who's going to grow together with you. You know, some people are sort of on the same trajectory, and
you're
that's
always
where
growing.
you make like a life match. But yeah, you're not going to meet somebody now and it's going to be the same person in a decade. Definitely not.
You're
growing. You are growing.
Well,
but
both of you are growing.
Hopefully you grow together.
It's a static collision. You want to collide and then move in that same direction, not just pass. And a lot of romance and hot moments, steaminess that come and go, you just met in that moment and you passed. And it requires work.
Yeah, you had something that was like valuable for each party in that moment in time. Same with friendships. You know, you meet somebody at the time when you're meant to meet them and you mesh together and you go together well, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a lasting thing.
With us,
but it happens that people find each other, that like it's lifelong friendships, lifelong relationships.
I'm fine with waiting. The older I get, the better. I mean, and for some people, the older they get, the better. They just grow in a positive way as a person. So in 5 years, I'll be so much better that I'll be able to. I think I'll be more attractive to women as a better suitor in 5 years. Whether it be financially, whether it be my experience in life. And I'm like,
or your maturity level.
Listen, my maturity level, and I noticed that's a big difference. Like, in girls now, when I was 25 and I tried to date 25-year-olds, they were trying to date guys that were 35, exactly. Right? And now I'm like, now I'm attracting these because they're like, we're tired of our own guys. We're tired of all these fuck boys.
Well, there is like a difference in maturity level between girls and boys. Girls are definitely ahead of boys. Boys just mature later. If you're dating someone who's the same age as you, you're going to have sort of different priorities, I think.
A 25-year-old woman might be on par with me at 31. Yeah. Whereas when I was 25 and she was 25, she didn't I didn't have a shit together at 25. So why would you want to date a 25-year-old guy?
It kind of goes back to the biological clock where women are maturing faster, so they need a guy who's ready. If a woman's 26, unfortunately for Tasha, I think at her age she'd be probably better off on the books with a guy who's like 40 with a house. You know what I mean? Or 35 with a house. But unfortunately, it's like that's why I'm always like, oh shit. It's like I have the same limitation that you have, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that limitation that we set that when I'm a headliner, I'll be making more money. I'll be in more control of when I'll perform. I can have my girl come with me. We say all these things when this is all perfect, and in the end, you're never kind of at that finish line. But yeah, it'd be so much better if Tasha and I met, and I already had my first home. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we wouldn't have that artisanal, youthful sort of... Like I was telling her the other day, I was like, trust me, we're going to look back at the time that we lived in this studio apartment as a real positive kind of moment in our life. We don't need to, rest on the laurels that we love it here. We're both, in a dogfight trying to, get that next, that competitive edge in our careers. But at the same time, you got to enjoy the ride.
But I think you're right that there's no such thing as everything all being perfect and set out, and that's part of the being on a journey together is that doesn't exist. You can't have your ducks in a row and then blah blah blah. You're setting a limitation for yourself, thinking that I can't have this until I have this. No, you can have it all, and you can have it all right now.
But you know what sucks for me?
I think maturity is the word I was looking for in there. The older I get, the more mature I get, and I'm a better suitor. Mm-hmm. Whereas 5 years ago, relationships might not have worked as well because my maturity was an issue. Now I can be more stable in a relationship.
And maybe it wasn't that much of a priority for you too. You might have thought it was a priority to have a relationship, but if you're not willing to invest the time or the energy into being a couple, being part of a team, working together for common goals, if you're only focused on your stand-up career or whatever else, it makes it's unbalanced.
Right. Did you see the little thing she put in? She's like, if you're only focused on your stand-up career, Dave. Which is so not true. I know. I'm if you look at my stage time, it's been really good this year, but I get jealous when I see single comics. And I see Trevor Wallace. He's I met him when I was opening at in the San Jose Improv, and he was in college. And he's dude's he's doing all these different mics, and he's running hard, and I have to be home at a certain time, for the most part, because I'll feel bad if you're just don't see me all day.
Me an excuse.
No, but that's my thing that I have. But also I got all the side jobs, and what's hard for me, which I don't think Tasha you will ever understand. Is that you've got friends... Excuse me, I'm burping. I'm not crying, I'm burping. I'm getting all choked up, I'm burping. You have friends, I won't say their names, that their husbands, have sold their screenplays, they have their own homes, they have the nice car. I've got friends, our mutual friends, that are fucking multi-millionaires because they release their own product and they have all their shit together. They've got that buying power, and right now, all I've got is selling you on the belief that I'm making it happen. And in the end, begrudgingly maybe, you believe me because you're still with me, or because I moved in with you and you can't evict me.
I am trying really hard to throw you out.
But it's until you're this, the limitation we have is that until you're the CEO of your own stand-up company, that you're not cashing in. Of course, this year we're going profitable with the podcast, other things. bells and whistles all over. But it's like, fuck, man, if you only knew, like, I refuse to settle for a job that's gonna, I'm not settling. Like I've always said, my retirement fund is the fact that I'm not quitting this. I will make this work. I will look back on this clip right now and be like, oh shit, because that's the leap in the net will appear mentality. Again, when you do leap in the net will appear, you have to actively be making choices to build that net, but you don't have to know where you're going to land. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, as long as you're moving in the direction, of your dreams, my Thoreau quote, as long as you're moving in a direction, you might end up like, is it Tom Rhodes? Is he the one who actually, he got a late night talk show in Amsterdam?
Yeah, Tom
And
Rhodes.
they set him on this trajectory where he loves performing abroad and he's this huge household name, so he gets to travel all over the world and tell jokes. What kind of world do we live in where that's the currency? But, like, why not? Everything else is a made-up currency anyway.
Yeah, you can be a YouTube billionaire. That's like a thing
Oh
that's
my
really
gosh.
about to happen.
I'm so obsessed with following some of these YouTube stars. I just started watching.
I saw you said there was like a little kid
Dude.
that makes $3,300 a day. I'm done.
33.
And that's just through like the advertising revenue on YouTube. That's not including like his
Everything
own
else.
merch and
So he's probably
brand
making
deals.
$5,000 a day, and he's just in his own dojo, jumping on trampolines with Cheetos, doing
What's
crazy.
that do to a kid to make that money that early on, though?
I know your parents should really.
Right? Your parents, like, you're 15 and your parents suddenly have no control over you because they can't argue with the amount of money
I've
you're
got to
making.
think.
You know
It's
what
kind of
I
like
mean?
these child stars. They end up being drug addicts or whatnot. All kinds of terrible things happen to them. And I'm like, that's not too different, to be honest with you.
Well, I'll say
it's
this.
really not.
The truth behind my joke that I'm a feminist because my girlfriend makes more money than me is it's men manipulate to get laid.
Manipulate.
I can't. Men
Manipulate.
we
You are a Japanese grandfather.
listen to my son.
Listen to sex, actually.
It's a very good show. Subscribe.
All right, but what were you trying to say actually?
We'll blur out the ball sack. They blur out the porn. Okay. The Weinsteins, that's a crazy extent to it all. But like this YouTube star pays his girlfriend to shoot his stuff. Hey, if I'm paying you, it's like you start to you can resent someone for when money gets involved. It gets dangerous.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Wouldn't you want to employ your friends? Like if you're running your own company and your company is just making fun videos, wouldn't you rather hire someone that you like, that you know could use the money, that you know is going to do a good job, than hire some stranger to be your DP?
But like if
my friends are capable, but if someone's like, yeah, I think I know to do it, and if there's like $5,000 on the $5,000 on the line every day, and it's my good buddy, but he doesn't have his shit together, no. In that
but
case.
I think, obviously you're going to do someone who's like willing to take direction and good at their job and that you believe in. But
Yeah.
it's like, it's working together. It's your whole community coming together and like we all rise to the top together, like all his buddies have channels too. And you shoot my video right now and I'm going to shoot your video in 10 minutes.
They're all making money. This guy's making more, but they're all still making $1,000 a day. It's just insane. But okay, so my question to you, Griff, if say you were paid with infinite YouTube bucks, so who can spend $3,000 a day? Really, who can? I mean, some days you just want to go watch a movie. That's $22. Like, who can spend $3,000 a day? Imagine, like, what world would you be operating in for that unlimited fund? Like, what if you won the lottery? What would you be doing?
What would change in your life?
What would you get out? And what would you just be focusing on? Because like for me, it's like $1 million. I'd still want to go on stage and make people laugh, But maybe I would create an environment where I can help support my friends do the same. Like what would be your blank check?
I've thought about this a lot. I have this recurring dream throughout my life where I find a briefcase full of cash and it would change my life overnight. What would I do with that? It would be overwhelming. So here's what I would do. I'm upset with our industry. It's a shitty, fucked up industry, and we're treated like dogs, and I'm sure in modeling there's plenty of bullshit you deal with too. So our industry is terrible. I tell people all the time now when they try to get into our industry, don't question, don't ask, just don't get into it.
And if they don't listen
do
to
it as a
you,
hobby,
they
don't
really
do
want
it.
to do it. Like if they really
you learn for yourself, but it's a brutal industry. So. And we're underpaid. Chris Rock gets $25 to do an hour at the Comedy Store, and I tell people that their jaws drop. I'm like, yep. So We're just exploited and underpaid, and it's disgusting.
And we're dinner theater, really.
Right, and so what I would do if I were to make big bucks is smart. First off, I would grow that money with investments, property. Grow that. Let's say it's $1 million. I turned it into $2 million, right? So now I've got $2 million, and I can invest. I'd like to run show. Okay, so I've run 15 shows.
Yeah, so assume that our investments are like Warren Buffett. Perfect.
Right.
So it's all coming in.
So to make a difference in my industry, where I'm disgusted how we're underpaid and exploited, I know to produce shows. I already do that. And I'd like to produce shows where I can pay my comedians $100 a set here in LA. Oh my God, what? And to make an example, and everyone's going to start wanting to do that show. That's going to be a hot show.
Around.
All the big guys will stick around. Everyone's going to want to do that show. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a waiting list. You're going to have to be really good to get on that show. And it's going to build a following, and everyone's going to be like, God, Griff's got the hottest show. What does he do?
And how does everybody else compete? That's the thing.
How does everyone else compete? You're going to have to start paying your comedians, too, if you want to compete with me.
Ari Shaffir does that. So he has a show. This is not happening since he has lost his show. He kind of gave it away to Comedy Central. But his live shows, basically, all he had to do was pay his comedians a $35 spot pay in New York. But what he decided to do was split the door with all of them. So next thing you know,
that's an example.
All the comics are getting $275 or $450, depending on what that door was. And they're like, dude, Ari, you could have made $1,800 and we would have all still been happy to do your show. He goes, no, that's not how it works. That's not what I need.
See what I'm saying?
It's a psycho with his honesty.
See what I'm saying is we're all just, that's how, we would have been fine with that. Why the fuck should we be fine with getting paid nothing? Why the fuck that's how it is? That's just how the industry is. Fuck that.
You guys sound like communists right now, and I really like it. No, but it's
well, here's the thing.
No. Here's the thing. Like, you're right that, like, this is horrible in your industry. It happens in my industry, too. There was just a thing last week where, like, this hotel owner in Ireland, like, put this blogger on blast for, like, asking for a free night stay to talk about the hotel. But, like, brands do that to me all the time. Literally, brands email me every day asking me to post their shit and not offering me any money.
Well, that's like Kevin Hart charges, like, $25,000 a tweet. And he goes, I built my Twitter. If you want me to tweet and promote your show, you have to pay me. I built this. So it's not about making, Louis C.K. makes like $400,000 a set when he does his arena shows. But it's like, he worked, he's maybe a bad example because they made good money in the 80s and 90s. It's what's so funny is they made more than we make now.
It's the only industry.
But the point is, you interrupted me, is that, like, it's sort of like, it's industry-wide in your industry, in our industry, but it's also just like America. It's like the CEOs are making 97% of like the profits, and the piddly warehouse workers are sharing 3%.
Are they that good at what they do?
But that's the thing, is that it's like it's unfair. This like sort of like reaping the benefits is all the 1% is getting all of it, and the rest of us are left with crumbs, and we're just like okay with it because we're just trying to get by, and we're just happy to be paid, and we're just happy to be doing our stage time, and we're just happy. It's like everybody, like, once people band together, this is like the power of unions. Once people band together and say, no, we're not working for this. If you guys weren't so desperate for the stage time, you could just be like, no, we're not performing at this place that's charging us to have water.
They did that in the 70s.
David Letterman led it.
Yeah, they did it in the 70s. I'm Dying Up Here, great book, now a Showtime show. The Showtime show doesn't really, it's a fiction. The book talks about the comedians, all the comedians got together, Leno, Letterman, Dresden, all these different comedians, and they picketed the Comedy Store. They weren't getting paid anything. They ended up getting 15, 20, whatever it is. Now they actually make less at the Improv, right? You make like $5 or $7.
Less than when we went on a strike then. And here's the thing, a lot of comedians,
yeah,
a lot of people are just, this is how it is, we need the stage time, and I honestly don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
No, it requires, like, making a stand.
Well, here's the thing, and I hate communism. Here's the thing, forcing anyone to do anything doesn't work. Forcing people that doesn't work. So a strike is not going to happen, I'm sorry, but comedians are too selfish, and they just are too hungry for stage time. It's not going to happen. But the way to do it...
And the same with models, too.
Probably,
because, I've been lucky that I'm sort of able to, like, request a rate and get it. But, like, you know, people get older and then they're not booking as much and then they get desperate and there's always going to be a brand new girl who just moved here from Wisconsin who's willing to do it for $300. And it's like, if you're selling yourself for so cheap for Instagram posts or for shoots or whatever else, then brands think that like they can just always get girls who will work for only $300. And it's like, no, that's
if we can get,
you're making a shit ton of money off of my face selling your product.
If we can get all these people for free, then we don't need to pay them.
We don't need to pay comics because they'll do it for free.
But what's great is that unlike just a random booty model with the following, is that when you decide, you know, there are girls with much bigger followings than you that get paid less for a promotional photo than you do, because you know what you're worth, and they go, oh, well, I actually like that. She's talented. She does this, that. But like, yeah, I've lost my point. But it's you have to be able to put your foot down. The currency that you have and that we have is impressions. Impressions is the only currency we have. For us, it's how many people download the podcast, how many people listen. Can we fill a theater? For you, it's in how many people follow you.
But it's sort of sorry, I'm interrupting you now. It's sort of an educational thing, just like how we talk about like dealing with like the wage gap. And they've been doing it in Hollywood too. It's like we have to be willing to have a communication. What's the girl from Grey's Anatomy? She was just talking about how like, what is it?
Not Katherine Heigl.
No. The girl who played Meredith Grey was talking about how when they were doing contract negotiations, I just read this thing. It was about how like she became the highest paid woman in television, and she was talking about how it was like a 10-year journey, and like every year she had to renegotiate, and that McDreamy or whoever wouldn't tell her his salary to use as like a bargaining chip. But this is a conversation that we need to have. Like, if we have transparency with what we're getting paid, and people who are like new in the industry know that like, no, don't work for that, you can get better.
Well,
then like we all come up together.
Where they talk to each other. Hey, what'd you get for that weekend? You know, they probably don't. They try not to say it on air because agents hate that. But I'm not at that place where I'm like, you know.
But your agent is supposed to have your back. You know, your agent is supposed to be wanting to get you paid too. They're getting a percentage.
Got other clients, and if they, you know, I don't want to get too far into like the specifics of it, but it comes down to like for me when I'm like begging people like, hey, not only subscribe to the podcast, but whip out your girlfriend's phone and click subscribe on their phone. And by the way, Geertsen from Salt Lake City wrote in. He's the guy who he wrote in and made he has like a
he made a t-shirt that you were wearing yesterday.
He made me a t-shirt and pants, like really good. And I was like, I'll make a t-shirt, like really good. And he's like, yeah, I've been sharing your podcast with a bunch of friends, and I was like, dude, yeah, punch the subscribe button on your girlfriend's phone. It's like, just get when you get the ball rolling, like for me, my blank check moment is if this goes from 15,000 downloads a month to 450,000 downloads a day. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just like a snowball. It's a little avalanche for my career. And when it gets to that level, I say, oh, I'm in Des Moines. And then I sell out a theater. And it's like, oh, and then I bring on comics I want to bring. And it's like that currency for me gets away from the gatekeepers, because it goes, okay, I don't need your comedy club. I'll do a bowling alley. I'll sell it out. $15 tickets. We'll get 400 people. You do the math. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what most of us are doing, dude. To circumvent.
And what's tough is that until you have that big following, like you don't. If we had that following without the muscle of being a great comedian, they'll be like, oh shit, he fucking sucks. Like some YouTubers will do like these theater tours and they just do Q&As. And the audience is too dumb to know any difference. No offense, YouTube watching. We just lost 2 people. No, but these younger audiences are too dumb to know talent. So like they'll happily go to a comedy club to see a viral star, and they charge like $20 a photo afterwards.
Hold on, go back a little bit. Hit rewind button. These young people are too dumb to know talent. You just hit on something you could do an entire fucking book or podcast on. I mean, talk about bumble rap and these
What's bumble rap?
It's pretty much what rap has become. Garbage. Rap is fucking trash, and rappers will tell you that. Older rappers will be like, what is this shit, Lil Yachty? What is this? You know, Gucci, 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 Gucci gang. I want to hit that kid in the fucking nose. You suck, you no talent ass clown. What is your name? I know, Lil something. I don't know. But kids are dumb and they consume. Like, yeah, that's what it is. And it's the same thing with these people are coming like, yeah, he's on YouTube. He must be. No, dude. Like,
what's funny with us is to be an up and coming comedian, you've probably put 12 years in. So when someone finds you, there's this new guy, Patrice O'Neal. No, he's one of the greatest comedians of all time. He's been working at underground.
More nasty bar shows. He's been to more shitholes. He's done so many just dirty. He's performed in bathrooms of the DMV. He's not new.
And that's why I do appreciate the struggle, but it's the journey that we have doesn't have to be a poor one where it doesn't have to be a struggle per se, but we do get verbally or physically attacked on stage sometimes. We literally have to have our head on a swivel. This last bar show I did it's called The Scene in North Hollywood. Bunch of dollar bills on the ceiling and bra straps. And they're a fun show. I've done that room,
Fun
show, but you know what I mean?
Outside.
The stage is like a 270-degree audience, so like you have to like kind of look behind you. People are walking around. They're ready to shank you. You know what I mean? Like we've got there's that side of the hustle, but there's also like I appreciate those shows. I learn a lot from performing in front of a lot of these Latin American communities I would never do stand-up for from being from New
Latin America. Just say there's a bunch of Mexicans there wearing LA Dodgers hats that heckle every time.
What's worse, a Dodgers hat or a Raiders? Which one is a worse audience member?
That reminds me, this is a total side note, but there was yesterday on the Basset Hound Rescue of Southern California. They've got a little Basset named Dodger who's up for foster or adoption. He was sick. He's really sick. He's got like a heart problem, and he's not going to live very long. Jeez. They're looking for his new owner. Still only like 16 months old. Dropped him off at the vet after they left him at the vet after they found out how serious his heart problem was.
The best place you could leave him though.
But now the vet is like just trying to find someone in Orange. They're looking for someone in Orange County. So if anybody knows somebody in Orange County who's willing to take in this little Basset Dodger,
I think if you had a blank check, sort of money rolling in. I mean, not to project on you, but I just imagine a farm with 1 million dogs.
You imagine correctly. I think I would take myself off the grid. I'd have myself a nice little farm with lots of little animals and some fruit trees. And I think that could be my existence.
If anyone has a dog farm and they want us to podcast from there, I think we'd happily be the worst audio.
That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, that's the goal. Is that we're gonna I'll be off doing stand up and making people laugh. And
I'll be home taking care of the dogs.
7 dogs every time. No, but that would be great. And then you could have like your core group of dogs you keep. Could you give the dogs away though? Like, could you actually deal with letting them go?
I think so. I think as long as I knew that they were going to like happy families.
So you would screen out you would make sure the families are good. And
yeah, or like if they're gonna drop their dog off at the vet, drop them back off with me. You know, I think I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to like breed dogs or anything.
You see how quickly we can.
You're like, I'm not trying to breed dogs.
You like how we can just change the conversation that quickly. Now we're talking about dog breeding. We do have to. We'll get out of here in a second. We just hit an hour plus our 15-minute intro, which we'll play at the end. Before we do go, where can people find you?
On all social media at Griff Pippin, GriffPippin.
Nice.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Snapchat.
I don't do Snapchat, so I was like, I don't think I think it's going to tank, and I think the Instagram stories.
I do Instagram stories now, and I Snapchat once in a while. Someone actually wrote in, I think her name is Beth, she wrote in from Snapchat a Sex Actually thing, and I was like, I didn't even know how'd you find me through Snapchat of all places, but I'll respond if you text me.
On there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same for me. D Neals, DNEALZ, and then the Sex Actually podcast is on Instagram now at Sex Actually Pod, which we're gonna go to Hobby Lobby, the arts and crafts store. Ooh. I'm sorry we haven't done this for your episode, but next time you come back.
How dare you? That's an Oklahoma company too.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okies. Oh, I have to, okay, but hold the table to Oklahoma thought because I wanted to talk to you about that. We're gonna make little bubble speeches things where we put like different ways that we label ourselves, like the 5 love languages, hopeless romantic and different things, and then we'll take photos with the guests and they can hold up whichever speech bubble they are.
So it's basically like a wedding photo booth.
Yeah, we're gonna make a little photo booth for the Sex Actually page. So go to the Instagram and follow over there, and then that's how we'll stay in touch. And we'll shoot a quick little hello video for that. once we wrap up here. Tasha, people, where can they find you?
You can find me at Tasha Courtney on Instagram. That's where I am mostly these days.
Or at a dog ranch.
Tasha TV is on Snapchat, but truthfully, I haven't been on Snapchat that much, guys. So sorry if I haven't answered your messages. I'll try and go through.
Yeah, follow her Instagram.
But I can't handle too. I'm finally getting back into Instagram after taking a lot of time off, and I've been doing a lot of Instagram stories. So send me a message.
Yeah, she's doing the Instagram stories before the podcast. So if you have any questions you want to ask, you follow her on Instagram. You'll get a notification when she goes live, and then you can ask her questions, and then we'll read on the podcast. Griff, is it not incredible that she doesn't have a bigger following on Instagram? Don't you think that was just a little bit... Some of these chicks have these following, and all I can do is try to milk the tit of your following.
Milk the actual tits. More tit pics.
The lactate.
You'd get a lot of followers if you guys did videos like that.
I've made her post a few photos here and there, all artistic, and I'm like, and they're like a 10,000 like photo. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh my, eyebrows are off centered, and I'm like, the bros aren't looking at your eyebrows, kid. But if we can get you to that next level,
you do have great eyebrows.
Oh, thank you.
But that's the thing. So as you mentioned, she's been so busy with some of these gigs, and I'm like, if you have to turn down work, you got to up your price. And that's the thing. Is like up your price to the point where it makes you really excited to go do it. And if they can't match it, then you'll be at home petting the dogs at that dog park, and then your currency is the fact that if you're able to get that following from 80 grand to 4 million, which by the way, the people that have the 4 million following, there isn't much of a difference there. It's just about tapping into that algorithm. If you get to that point, then you go, fuck it. We're shooting videos in Bolivia. We're going on the road. We're traveling.
Sounds like a dream.
And we're going after different things
bring
here.
the dogs.
Yeah.
We'll hire a really good dog sitter.
Bolivian Dog Ranch.
We did that in Colombia.
That's the new name of the podcast, Bolivian Dog Ranch.
Dog Ranch. I could wag one up. Okay. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like I bring the podcast equipment when we go to Colombia. We do an episode there. She records a few things, and then all of a sudden we say "fuck you" to the industry. And then it's, you know what I mean? Like, I look at like guys like Joe Rogan, and it's like, this dude built a factory. It's like the size of a Best Buy. He built a podcast studio. He's got like a Muay Thai area, a water deprivation tank. He's got all these crazy things. And it's like, I don't want that.
Is this the Onnit gym as well connected to it?
Maybe. Yeah, probably. But it's here. It's somewhere in Glendale or somewhere. He literally... And he's gonna build like an outdoor fire pit so they can smoke cigars and podcast there. It's just insane. But why would he ever go to a sitcom or something like that? He doesn't need it. He's making when you talk about what these YouTubers are making, times that by 10 with what
to
he's
just
making.
have fun and record their everyday life.
And he's also an interesting guy. By no means I'm trying to say.
Oh my god,
he's
so interesting.
But the point is we bring on guests like you that we love to talk to. Who wouldn't want to pop us in while they're doing their laundry? And the people that listen, anyway.
It's unlimited possibilities.
Listen,
that's the bottom line, is that there are unlimited possibilities in this life. You've just got to figure out what it is that's going to make you happy and pursue it.
And listening to the Bolivian Dog Ranch podcast is the best way to make yourself happy.
You're gonna love it.
It's just dog noises. It's like it's like how they do like ambiance at Starbucks. They do like ambiance music, and it's like, or you can like you can put on like the coffee house channel or whatever, right? And then it's like the sound of like the steamer, the espresso steamer, and like the grinder and
You're
the
just
beans.
gonna hear Tasha itching.
That's what I'm gonna start selling. It's just like dog ambiance.
Such a good idea. Dog parks, dog shitting and sniffing each other. No, so anyway, my call to action, my CTA, as it were, is that it's like, look, the podcast is free, right? So I spend, not to make y'all feel guilty, I spend what I spend on the bandwidth, and all that jazz, and I love doing it. I get so much out of it. But what I ask from you is, I know how many of you are subscribing and rating versus how many listen, and more of you need to subscribe. And those of you that have, like Geertsen, am I pronouncing his name right? Geertsen? It sounds like my gay, like my Gunter, my Geertsen. It's like, oh yeah, Tasha, don't worry, I'll just go hang out with Geertsen. Don't worry about it. But it's those guys that can take out their girlfriend's phone and punch us in and subscribe. Those are the ones that help us build and get to that next level. So I appreciate it if you will subscribe, rate it, review it, find out how to do that. Click on the icon. If you have an iPhone, you just type in Sex Actually. You can do this while you take your next shit. You type in Sex Actually, you hit reviews, you see 177 5-star reviews, which is great. Let's get that up to 1,000. That's what you need to do to rise in the ranks and get more ears listening to us. It's not a matter of quality. We've done the best we can to provide the best quality thing. It's just a matter of getting us in the right opportunity to get more listeners. So anyway, that's what I'll say about that. Any last words about the Bolivian Dog Ranch?
I think we're all tapped out.
Oklahoma. Any festivals that you do there?
No, I don't go back to comedy there.
You don't do any comedy there?
I only go back to see family and then get out.
Is there any, just because it's too much going on when you go home and see family?
Yeah, I gotta see family. I mean, there are festivals. There's a Blue Whale one in Tulsa.
The Blue Whale one is the one that I have a second cousin who runs a restaurant group in Oklahoma, and they have a bunch of restaurants. If we could get comedy shows, I'm literally having this idea right now. It would be awesome to like bounce around and do a few of his shows. He owns all these restaurants, and he saw me do stand up in Newport while they were in town. But he mentioned the Blue Whale Festival, so I didn't know if it was one that he had done before or whatever.
I know about it, but
I don't know when it is. Anyway,
you guys should make a trip. You guys can go together.
I'd rather go to Kentucky, a small town in Kentucky.
Yeah, baby. We need to
Kentucky
find out what the festival in Kentucky is.
Kentucky isn't that big.
Louisville has a festival.
Do they have a festival?
Yeah, they do.
They don't have enough good clubs. There's only a couple. There's like
Louisville's a huge city.
Louisville
I'm sure that
has
like
a
if
club.
they're doing a festival there, they're going to be setting up all sorts of
Ohio, which is right next door, has 1 million comedy clubs.
Ohio sucks though. For anyone listening, that state sucks.
There's not much going on there, but football, right? Every state where nothing's going on, they kill it with football.
Ohio has produced more astronauts than any other state, so the joke is that Ohio is so bad.
So bad they get out of the yacht.
They make you want to leave the earth.
Hey, that's jokes out of this world. All right, we'll end on that. Griff, thanks again for being on the podcast. Everyone go follow him on social media. Tell him that you heard him here. If you haven't, go find the first episode we did with him. It's just as interesting. I'll put the link to that in the description. Rate, review, Tasha Courtney, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. And I have to pee so bad. That last 10 minutes was really
I didn't want to
today.
record it, but I'll tell you guys about that. My Thursday was the worst day of my life.
Okay, hold on, pause though, because I want to hear.
Wait,
but I just have to
start saying it, and as soon as you say it, I'll hit the stop
No.
button. I'll hit the stop button.
No.
They'll wish they were listening.
Not need to be recorded.
Bye, everybody. No, I was going to say like as a teaser. Thanks, man.
Oh, dude, thank you.
That was a good one. I wasn't exactly sure how long it was since we did the intro. Oh, it's still on YouTube. Oh, what if I shared it on YouTube?
Oh.
Okay, here, let me just slide to stop. Bye, everybody. You don't get to hear the secret.